Hello and welcome back to another episode of Dragon Age Origins. Alright, in this episode I will mostly talk to my companions, well, depending how long it will take. I know that at least some of them have some dialogue options left that I haven't used yet, and some of them may have something new to say, like Win, because I gave her a lot of gifts in the last episode. And let's see what the improved approval will give me.
What's on your mind?
Yeah, is there something we can do to cure you?
Cure me? What, am I sick now?
In a sense?
Even you know that you cannot cure the dead. And I'm not the only one dying. You are too. I'm just more efficient about it. Ah, child, your concern is heartwarming. But death comes to everyone, and it is not something to fear.
So you're not afraid?
People fear not death, but having life taken from them. Many waste the life given to them, occupying themselves with things that do not matter. When the end comes, they say they did not have time enough to spend with loved ones, to fulfill dreams, to go on adventures they only talked about. But why should you fear death if you are happy with the life you have led? If you can look back on everything and say, yes, I am content, it is enough.
So are you content?
I think I've led a good life, a full life, and I, for one, am not afraid of death, whatever it may bring. They say that when you die, your spirit travels through the fade and returns to the Maker. And after that, we'll see, won't we?
Well, okay.
What's on your mind?
Do you have any regrets at all?
I try not to dwell too much on the mistakes of my past, of which there are many. I would go quite mad if I did that. But I do have one regret. The greatest misstep of my life, made even more grave because it had dire consequences for someone else.
So what did you do?
Years ago, I was assigned as mentor to a lad, Anarin. He was my first apprentice. Anarin was an elf, raised in one of the elven alienages, and he was very mistrustful of humans, especially humans in authority.
I can see how this could be trouble.
What Anarin needed was time. Time to get used to his new home, time to emerge from his shell, so we could build a rapport. I gave him no such time. I was young and arrogant. He is a mage, I thought. He needs to grow up and act like one. I expected too much from him, too quickly. I gave no consideration to his origin or his feelings, and he retreated further from me. All I could think of was how stubborn he was, how he was throwing away all his talent and his potential, just to be difficult.
So was he talented?
Oh, very much so. Sometimes I would catch him practicing on his own, but if I asked him to show me what he could do, he would freeze up or fumble terribly. You cannot plant crops in the cold, wintry ground. You cannot teach a student who is closed off and unresponsive. Patience is what is needed, and I learned that too late to help him.
So what happened to Anarian?
Anarin ran away from the circle one night. I had berated him over some trivial, ridiculous matter that I no longer remember. I drove him away because of something utterly unimportant. He was a child, 14 at the time of his leaving. They had his phylactery, and they hunted him down.
Oh, I can ask about the phylacteries. Yeah, let me ask this.
The phylactery is a vial of blood taken from a mage. But blood is connected to life, and your blood can be used to track you down. They called him Maleficar, a mage who practices forbidden magic, deserving of death. He was a child, misunderstood and lost. I begged the Templars to tell me if he suffered, if they gave him a quick death. I got no answers from them. I was his mentor, and they wouldn't even tell me what became of him.
Yeah, it's probably not her fault. I mean, maybe he ran away because he didn't want to be in a circle. Maybe it wasn't that specific incident that made him run away. So it's not your fault, Win.
I should have known better. I had the best mentors. They were kind, compassionate. Why didn't I learn from them? I failed Anarin. All I had to do was listen to him. He would try to talk to me, and I would tell him to concentrate on his spells. He talked about the alienage sometimes, and the Dalish. He always talked about looking for the Dalish elves.
Maybe he did find the Dalish.
The Templars are well-trained and thorough. That he still lives, it would be a vain hope. The apprentices that came after Anarin benefited greatly from the lessons I learned from him. In a sense, he was my teacher, and I his student.
See, there's a bright side.
And there it is. My story, my one greatest regret.
Oh, new quest, Win's Regret. Is this her companion quest? It sure is. Help Win find closure. Win spoke to you about the first pupil she took under her wing, an elf named Anarin. She was quite harsh on him and drove him away from the circle. Anarin spoke often of the Dalish elves and dreamed of finding them. However, Win believes that he never managed to find them and that he was hunted down and killed by the Templars. We didn't see an elf named Anarin in the Dalish camp, did we? Maybe it's worthwhile to go and ask them if they knew him. But let's talk a bit more
What's
to Win.
on your mind?
So, have you changed your mind about Alistair and me?
I have watched you for a time, and perhaps I was wrong. There seems to be something special between the two of you. He seems less guarded when in your company, allows himself to relax, and he seems genuinely happy.
Well, thank you. Well, I'm happy with him.
I think I was too harsh in my judgment before, and I am sorry.
Apology accepted.
What you have may not last forever. Death and duty may part you, but love's worthiness is not diminished because of that. I should have seen this before. Instead, you learn to cherish every precious moment that you spend together, knowing that it may be the last. And for those of us watching, well, it brings warmth to these old bones to know that something so beautiful can be found in the midst of chaos and strife.
All right. Let's
What's on
talk
your
to her
mind?
again. As a Grey Warden, I'll never lead a normal life, will I?
No, you won't.
Yeah, but I don't think I was ever meant to be normal.
I don't think so either. You would not have been happy living a dull, uneventful life, dying in obscurity. You wonder sometimes, don't you? If your life would be better if you weren't who you are.
No, I like my life.
I didn't. Not for a long time. When I was a young woman in the tower, I came to the realization that the circle would be my life, and I would know no other. Family, love, a simple life. These were things that others took for granted, that I would never have.
And this upset you?
It made me very moody. All I could think of was being trapped in that tower with no way out and no end in sight. I started hating my life and myself, and one night I found myself in the tower's chapel. I was seeking refuge, maybe answers.
Mm. And did you find anything?
I must have looked tearful or made some noise, because the revered mother came out and decided to speak to me. And because I had no one else to talk to, I talked to her. I must have said many silly things, but she told me that the Maker puts us all on our paths for a reason, and fighting our intended course is what causes so much anguish.
And that made you feel better?
I thought the old biddy was full of rubbish. I was 15, maybe 16, and I knew everything. So I left, but I always found my way back to that chapel. And as the years passed, I began to see the truth of her words. We were supposed to be polar opposites, mage and priest. But we weren't. There was much about us that was the same.
All this sappy nonsense is going to make me throw up. Yeah, but priests have to choose to be priests, mages don't.
Not all priests choose their path. Some children are given to the chantry to raise and become initiates.
Well,
The
fair
revered
point.
mother had lived in the chantry all her life, as I had been in the tower for all of mine. She taught me that you can find your family in the people around you, that you can love your work and find fulfillment in duty, and there is joy even in self-sacrifice. If you put others before yourself, then their well-being is yours, and their happiness is your happiness.
It won't be easy to live that way.
You can scream and cry and be angry about life as a Grey Warden, or you can accept it and allow yourself to see the good in it. This is your choice.
Well, those were some pretty deep conversations,
What's on
Win.
your mind? I will answer to the best of my ability.
Okay, that's pretty much everything I can talk to her about now. And let's see how we are with approval. Yeah, we're getting there. I think it's mostly Zevran who is trailing a bit behind, but we'll try to remedy that by talking to him right now.
What say you?
Care to answer some questions?
By all means.
Yeah, what is your opinion of the Dalish?
I know little enough of the Dalish other than the fact that my mother was one, or so I was told. She had fallen in love with an elven woodcutter and accompanied him back to the city, leaving her clan behind for good. And there, of course, the woodcutter died of some filthy disease and my mother was forced into prostitution to pay off his debts. Oldest tale in the book.
Well, that is sad. So you're an assassin and a son of a whore. Yeah. But yeah, that's kind of horrible.
Is it? It seemed normal enough a tale growing up. No different than the other elven boys in the whorehouse. I didn't know my mother either, of course. She died giving birth to me. My first victim, as it were. We were all raised communally by the whores. It was a happy enough existence, ignoring the occasional beating. Until eventually I was sold to the crows. I brought a good price, so I hear.
Yeah, and yet you're only cheerful about it all.
It could have been much worse. Shall I tell you about what happened to the other whorehouse boys who did not fetch a decent price with the crows? Surely your life has not been so idyllic. People like you and I are not the product of happy lives of contentment, after all.
Well, you can say that again.
My original point is that my mother's Dalish nature was always a point of fascination for me. Through all the years of my crow training, the one thing of my mother's that I possessed was a pair of gloves. They were of Dalish make, I knew that much, and beautiful.
Oh.
I had to keep them hidden, of course, as we were not allowed such things. Eventually, they were discovered, and I never saw them again.
I happen to have a pair of Dalish gloves. Ah, okay. But you don't think of yourself as Dalish?
Not at all. I think of myself as Antivan. Still, that did not stop me from running off to join a clan when I drew near Antiva city once. Naturally, the reality did not live up at all to the fantasies I had constructed as a boy, staring at those gloves. But such is life. Come, enough talk of the Dalish. Let us move on.
Actually, Zevran, I have something for you. I totally have something for you. Yes, Dalish gloves. For you.
Gloves? You're giving me gloves? What for?
Yeah, the Dalish gloves, like your mother's.
Maker's breath. You're right. It is like my mother's. The leather was less thick, and it had more embroidery, but these are very close, and quite handsome.
Mm-hmm. There was
Still,
nothing.
I appreciate the fact that you even thought of me. No one has simply given me a gift before. Thank you.
Oh, you're welcome, Zevran. I just found them somewhere in the forest, I believe. But I thought of you. I thought of you. That's true. Okay, I think I'm getting better with Zevran as well. Yeah, we're warm. Nice.
What
Let's
say
talk to him
you?
again. Now let's see if I can ask more
By all
questions.
means.
No,
What say you?
but maybe we can discuss something personal.
Again? I'm game.
No. Alright, let's talk to Shale. Hello.
It speaks.
Yes. I have some questions.
It doesn't have better things to do.
Did I already ask these? I guess not, because usually when I ask something it disappears from my dialogue tree. So how did Willem come to acquire you?
That part I know, as Wilhelm often bragged about it to whomever was willing to listen to him. He claimed to have found me in the deep roads. I was in the ruins of a Tig, he said, deactivated, with my control rod not far away.
I don't even know what the deep roads are. What was Willem doing in the deep roads?
It was a hobby of his, scavenging. One of the reasons he traveled so much is that he was looking for entrances into the deep roads, old places the dwarves had long forgotten. And then he would sneak down and search for magical treasure, before anyone was the wiser.
Right, it was like the old dwarven roads. I think Bowden told me about them a long time ago. Do you know where in the deep roads this was?
No, that secretive bastard refused to tell me. I would ask and ask, but no. He used to say that one day, if I were compliant and didn't talk back at his wife, he would take me there and I could look around myself. Rotten, lying bastard. If I had his head in my hands now, I would squeeze it like a giant lemon. Squish.
So you don't know why you were there?
I think I remember a battle. It was long before, and then there was darkness. Bah, in short, no, I do not remember why I was there. It makes no difference.
So, if we hadn't found you...
I wouldn't have had to put up with the twit, and I would be none the wiser. I don't think I was aware while I was there. Not like in the village. Or perhaps I was. Perhaps that was the dark place, and I simply couldn't see anything. How long could even I sit in the darkness and stare out at nothing, never sleeping? Oh, I do not wish to think of that.
Yeah, let's move on.
Then.
Well, that's a lot of approval for just such a short
It
talk.
speaks.
I have more
It
questions.
doesn't have better things to do.
So you watched the village day and night for years.
I do not sleep, so yes. And I thank it for
Sorry.
reminding me. Try to imagine, if it will, what it would be like to be surrounded by nothing but boring peasants, all oblivious to it.
Yeah, that would be rather horrid.
And then there were the birds. A whole village full of pigeons and ravens and sparrows all perching on me day in and day out.
Sounds a little messy.
Those foolish villagers would spread birdseed near me, drawing the birds, because they thought having birds perch on me was quaint. Quaint! If there hadn't been the occasional kind soul to scour me clean, I don't care to discuss this anymore.
Sorry. Let's talk to him again.
Speaks. It doesn't have better things to do.
I'm told you killed your former master.
Did I not already tell it that I do not remember doing such? I remember having a master. My memories of what happened to him are vague.
Vague, but not non-existent.
Clever and true. Oh, very well. Let me see what I can recall. My former master enjoyed experimenting upon me. I remember that much. There was tinkering with spells, and then the crystals. He was very eager to alter my function, I think.
Yeah, why? You're fine as you are. You're a fine golem. I mean, the only golem I ever met, but from all the golems I ever met, you are definitely the finest.
Flattery. And obvious flattery, too. I feel warm and fuzzy inside. He possessed my control rod, and back then, it would have prevented me from doing anything he did not command me to, no matter how I might have wished to. So what happened? I am unsure. He was experimenting, and then nothing.
And what do you remember next?
And then he was gone. I was standing where I was, in the village, and I could no longer move. The villagers came, poked and prodded me in fear, and then realized they could neither move me nor destroy me. So they simply left me. And in time I forgot I hadn't stood there all along.
You didn't wonder where he'd gone?
Wonder? I was glad that he was gone. For so many years I'd had to leap to that little toadstool's every command. Get this, pick up that, put it down, pick it up again. The gall! At first I'd hoped he'd simply decided to leave me there paralyzed. An acceptable trade-off. After years passed, I simply stopped caring.
Maybe it has something to do with your crystals.
Possibly. Except that he was not experimenting with the crystals at the time, I think. But my memory is not good. It may be correct. Whatever the mage did seemed to render the control rod useless, for which I should be thankful, yes? And provided it doesn't decide to copy his experiments, not that I would allow it, it has nothing to fear from me. Much.
Well, thank you. Sounds good to me.
Things that it fights, and it fights things often, that is a different story. Let us get back to the walking and the fighting. My stone is beginning to itch again.
Actually,
It speaks.
let's try to ask some questions.
It doesn't
one last
have
time.
better things to do.
So, you don't seem to like humans much.
That is true. I do not. I'm not interested in getting into a discussion on the subject, however. Ask another time. If it is done asking overly obvious questions, let us find some humans to throw off a cliff or something.
Right. Alright, that was a nice little talk, I guess. Let's see, Shale. Yeah, doing fine. I don't really have any more gifts for him though, although maybe he likes a painted sky ball. Huh. Nah, I'm sure this is for Liliana, because she spoke about the constellations. Alright, sorry, I had to take a quick break again, but now I'm ready to continue to speak to my companions, and I will try to speak to Sten, I guess.
What is your wish, Kadan?
Although I suspect that
I am hardly surprised.
he doesn't have anything new. No.
Very well. Speak, then.
Alright.
Then I suggest we move on.
Yeah,
As you wish.
nice talking to you, Stan. So let's talk to Alistair instead, because he always has something to say.
Something you need, my dear?
Yes.
Of course.
Alright, I have the vague feeling I asked some of those already, but I guess I wouldn't be here if I had, so let's just exhaust all the remaining dialogue options here.
Such as they are.
What would happen if we just left?
Just left? You mean just left for Eldon? I don't know. If there's an archdemon, however, we're supposed to be the only ones who can defeat it. And that means the Blight would grow unchecked. Eventually, other Grey Wardens in Orlais and other lands would hear about it, and they would come to fight it, but they wouldn't come in time to save Ferelden. There's no way. I'm not going anywhere.
Well, it was just a theoretical question. I don't really plan on leaving either.
About the Grey Wardens, anyhow. Fair enough. Something you need, my dear?
Yeah.
Of course.
So how did you become a Grey Warden? I'm sure you already told me that, but I'm going to ask you anyway.
Same way you did. You drink some blood, you choke on it, and pass out. You haven't forgotten already, have you?
Don't be an idiot. I meant before that.
Let's see, I was in the Chantry before. I trained for many years to become a Templar, in fact. That's where I learned most of my skills.
So what skills might those be?
Well, it wasn't an easy life, you know. I don't know whether or not you've noticed, but I'm not exactly the Chantry type. The Grand Cleric didn't want to let me go. Duncan was forced to conscript me, actually, and was she ever furious when he did. I thought she was going to have us both arrested. I was lucky.
Why did the Grand Cleric want to keep you?
I wondered that myself. It's not as if she valued me highly. I think she just didn't want to give anything to the Grey Wardens, is all. The Chantry didn't lose much. And I think I can do more fighting the Blight anyhow, rather than sitting in a temple somewhere. I'll always be thankful to Duncan for recruiting me. If it hadn't been for him, you know, I wouldn't have.
Yeah, he was a good man.
He was. A good man who didn't deserve his fate. That much I'm sure of. Come on, let's go. I think I'm done talking.
Well, but I'm not done talking to you.
Something you need, my dear?
There was one more question, I think.
Of course.
Yes, what changes about you after the joining?
You mean other than becoming a Grey Warden?
Yeah, other than becoming a Grey Warden. I mean, what changes physically?
You know, I asked Duncan this too. And all I got was, you'll see.
Well, just try that line on me.
I have other lines for you. Trust me.
Well,
Oh, it's
do
not
you
that
now?
Duncan wants to keep it a secret. It's just that the Grey Wardens don't discuss it much. I gather it's not a pleasant topic. The first change I noticed was an increase in appetite. I used to get up in the middle of the night and raid the castle larder. I thought I was starving. I'd slurp down every dinner like it was my last. My face all covered in gravy. When I'd look up, the other Grey Wardens would stare, then laugh themselves to tears.
I haven't felt anything like that.
Really? Because I was watching you wolf down food the other day, and I thought, ooh, it's a good thing she gets a lot of exercise.
What can I say? I'm a grown girl.
I'll say. I didn't mean it like that. No, don't hit me. I bruise easily. Oh, and then there were the nightmares. Duncan said it was part of how we sense the Darkspawn. We tap into their, well, I don't know what you call it, their group mind. And when we sleep, it's even worse. You learn to block it out after a while, but at first it's hard. It's supposed to be worse for those who join during a blight. How is it for you?
Yeah, I've had some strange dreams.
Some people never have much trouble, but that's rare. Others have trouble sleeping their entire life. They're just more sensitive, I suppose. Everyone ends up the same, though. Once you reach a certain age, the real nightmares come. That's how a Grey Warden knows his time has come.
His time has come?
Oh, that's right. We never had time to tell you that part, did we? Well, in addition to all the other wonderful things about being a Grey Warden, you don't need to worry about dying from old age. You've got 30 years to live, give or take.
Oh,
The taint. It's a death sentence. Ultimately, your body won't be able to take it. When the time comes, most Grey Wardens go to Orzammar and die in battle rather than waiting.
okay.
It's tradition.
Why Orzammar?
You'll always find Darkspawn down where the dwarves are. The oldest Grey Wardens head to the deep roads for one last glorious battle. Not that there's a shortage of Darkspawn during a blight, but that's the tradition. The dwarves respect us for it. And you wondered why we kept the joining a secret from the new recruits. There you have it.
Well, I mostly thought it was because of the, most people die during the joining part. No, I never wanted that, I understand.
You know, Duncan, he started having the nightmares again. He told me that in private. He said it wouldn't be long before he'd go to Orzammar himself. I guess he got what he wanted. I just wish it had been something worthy of him.
He will be remembered, Alistair, as will the others.
I know. Ending the blight should make this all worthwhile, right?
Right. I should finally... Yes, I have maxed out Alistair's approval. And I'm at love now. Woohoo! Let's
Something
talk
you
to
need,
him
my dear?
again. I'd like to discuss something private.
Well, we're in camp. Now's as good a time as any to talk, right?
Ooh. So how would you like to join me in my tent, huh? We're finally getting down to business, it seems. Well, I mean, I am at 100 approval. It can't really get any better than that, so I guess I may as well ask him, right? So, yeah, would you?
Join you? In your tent?
Yes, do I need to repeat myself?
No, of course not. I heard you. It's just that... I must sound like a fool. You know that I've never done anything like this. With anyone. I was quite sheltered
Yeah, I know.
after all. I care for you so much. Whenever I think of this, I feel like a bumbling idiot. All hands. I wish I could be better at this. I want it to be right.
Where would you rather we waited?
I don't know. I'm willing to give it a shot, if you are.
Give it a shot, right? Yeah, just, yes, I'm willing, I guess. Come on,
Right.
let's do this.
I'm going to... Stop talking now.
Right, stop talking. Oh dear.
You know, according to all the sisters at the monastery, I should have been struck by lightning by now.
Not for that performance. Don't know if this is good or bad. Well, it could still happen.
Sure. But if you get hit by the lightning afterwards, it hardly seems like an effective deterrent. You do realize the rest of our little party here is going to talk, right? They do that.
Oh, that's okay. Let them talk, I don't care.
Oh, sure, now you say that. By tomorrow it'll be icy glares and awkward silences right before battle. Just you watch. So, what now? Where do we go from here?
I don't know. I guess we stay together no matter what happens.
Right, I can handle that. I hope. Before we go, have I told you that I love you? I did. Well, it won't kill you to hear it again, will it?
Yeah, I love you too.
See? Was that so hard?
Yoo-hoo! First night! Literally. I mean, the episode is long enough, but I wanna have a quick chat with Liliana. I guess I'll make the episode a little bit longer. So let's talk like a few minutes to Liliana.
I was just thinking about what happened to the elves, and I'm reminded of a song sung to me many years ago. It was when my mother died, and this wise elven woman comforted me and told me that we shouldn't fear death or hate it. Death is just another beginning. One day, we must all shed our earthly bodies to allow our spirits to fly free.
Well, I for one am in no hurry to let my spirits fly free.
It's a beautiful sentiment, I think. One that brings peace and hope to the grieving.
Oh. Okay, that is not what I expected to happen. But I guess this is a beautiful note to end the episode on. And there will be a little bit more talking in the next episode. I still need to speak to Liliana and to Morgan. And after that, I think I will do Wynn's companion quest. So, yeah, see you again in the next episode.